I mean, it was a very emotional moment for 44-year-old Kim Adams as her former probation officer pleaded no contest to sexual assault charges and was sentenced to 6 months in jail. Kim Adams says justice was not served.
Not an hour of the day goes by that I'm not haunted by the memory of what he did to me.
As she recalled being sexually assaulted,
I feel dirty and used. My self-esteem has never been lower.
Adams read the letter she wanted the court to hear. She never got the chance to speak to the judge. Adams describes how Reyes Sobrón, who was convicted of misdemeanor sexual assault, took advantage of her while she was on probation.
He made lewd comments, hugged me, and ran his hands over my body. Then he said, from here on out, consider me your daddy because that's who I am.
But Adams says things progressed.
Over the next 3 years, he repeatedly touched me, groped me, ran his hands under my blouse and into my crotch, told me that he wanted to have sex and asked for nude pictures.
Sobrón pleaded no contest to 3 misdemeanors of sexual assault, one of them being reduced from a felony, and will be in custody for 180 days. In addition, he will register as a sex offender for life.
It's a slap on the wrist. It's really despicable, and today's a very shameful day in the history of the Kern County District Attorney's Office.
Attorney Ben Meiselas represents Adam in a civil suit against the county. He says today's plea deal is problematic.
He was in court today admitting to raping an individual, to raping Miss Adams while he was a probation officer. And what was striking as I sat there was there were other people in jumpsuits who didn't wear a badge, and those individuals were getting felonies for $100 and $1,000 cases.
After Sobrón's plea, I reached out to him for comment, but he declined my request. He will be sentenced November 16th. Alex Fisher, 17 News.
Sickening and horrific, cop repeatedly raped woman in front of her disabled child. Bakersfield, CA. After enduring years of sexual assault and abuse, including at least one incident which took place in the presence of her disabled child, a mother of 3 filed a lawsuit against her former probation officer. Ben Meiselas, the unnamed woman's attorney, told Courthouse News the repetitive assaults the victim endured were sickening and horrific. We filed this lawsuit because Doe was brutally sexually assaulted over the course of several years by a now former parole officer who held a position of trust and control and abused that authority, Meiselas explained. It's clear to us that the parole office was complicit and turned a blind eye to the brutal sexual abuse. Courthouse News reports former Kern County probation officer Reyes Sobrón Jr. pled no contest to the sexual assaults of the mother, who will not be named in this report to protect the identity of her children, and 2 other victims, late last year. Sobrón received 6 months in jail and 3 years probation for touching a person intimately against their will for sexual arousal. Court documents claim the former officer brutally and methodically assaulted the woman beginning around April 2012, and didn't cease until June 2015. Sobrón would mislead Doe into coming into the probation office and would take Doe to a corner where he would digitally penetrate her vagina and anus while sticking his tongue down her throat, moaning, "I want you to make me cum in my pants," the woman's 10-page complaint states. In one horrific instance, Sobrón sexually assaulted Doe in her home in front of her disabled son suffering from cerebral palsy as he lay helpless, crawling on the ground. Sobrón, the woman claims, threatened to put her in jail for the rest of her life if she rejected his unwanted advances, which caused her to fear for life and those of her 3 children. Assaults continued until one day in 2015, when the woman received an unexpected visit from a female probation officer who sought to arrest her for violating orders to perform community service, a violation which should not have occurred, as Sobrón had vowed to allow an extension. Upon confiscating the woman's phone, however, the officer discovered Sobrón's text messages calling her sexy mamacita and baby doll and abruptly left without further comment, according to the complaint. Soon afterward, Courthouse News reports, Sobrón started calling the woman and threatening to kill her. Emboldened despite this escalation, she told the probation department what was going on. But instead of taking her seriously, she claims the department tried to dissuade her from reporting him and let Soberin continue supervising her probation though he was not officially assigned to her. Worse yet, the department's internal affairs officials told the woman she could not hire an attorney, talk to the media or contact the FBI about her report or the assaults, according to the complaint. Throughout the duration of her ordeal, the woman says the now former officer repeatedly invented excuses to be in her presence and continue the sexual assaults. Seemingly left without recourse to stop the ongoing abuse, she says she lived in constant fear, believing that Soberin was free to continue molesting her. Image, http://pixel.watch/qt7. It wasn't until the woman was subpoenaed to appear at Soberin's criminal case she learned he had been arrested months before in December 2015. As Ms. Ellis described, simply attempting to bring the woman justice by filing appropriate documentation with the court exposed startling obstacles, in particular, the treatment of sexual assault victims and the rejection of the woman's status as disabled from the trauma suffered. According to Courthouse News, Ms. Ellis says his client first filed a government late claim 2 months after the deadline. Though she has post-traumatic stress disorder from being raped, the county denied her petition for a late file, though the Government Tort Claims Act states the county must permit a filing if the individual suffers a disability or did not file due to excusable neglect. One of the biggest scandals here is that a Kern Superior Court commissioner found that PTSD from rape does not equal a disability, the attorney asserted. Lawyers who file late can get a pass, but sexual assault victims get thrown in the gutter? That ruling shocks the conscience. Kudge and other officials not only knew about Soberin's wrongdoing, but tried to cover up the scandal by pressuring her not to tell anyone what was happening, the complaint states. Courthouse News notes that as of Monday, Kudge was no longer listed as the chief probation officer on the department's webpage. Officials declined to comment, telling the outlet the woman's complaint had not yet been reviewed. Kern County, the Kern County Probation Department, former Officer Reyes Soberin, Jr., and Chief Probation Officer David M. Kudge are all named in the lawsuit. For this gross violation of her civil rights, the woman seeks general, special, and punitive damages through the lawsuit. This egregious case shows not only a horrendous violation of trust between law enforcement and the public, but, as described in the suit, an inexcusable attempt to cover up wrongdoing while re-victimizing a mother of 3, and potentially others, in the process.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, you know, at least I can do it, you know, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.